All right, now that we are in the more advanced section of the course, we're going to start to learn how to code. So I'm just kidding. We're not going to code. I mean, I guess people could argue that this is coding. Really, all it is that we're accessing a certain set of functions in the JavaScript language. And the good news about using these JavaScript functions is that because JavaScript has been around for so long and it's so sort of like universal, whenever you realize you need to use some of these functions or you're using them and you're getting confused and you're maybe not doing it right, ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, they've all been trained on this language because, like I said, it is so universal. So there's a ton of them, but we're going to cover these 5, which are kind of like the most common ones that I find myself using. And most workflows, I don't even have to touch them, but every once in a while you will. We've kind of talked about this one with like guardrails, or maybe that guardrails section. But anyways, we're just going to basically go over these common use cases. So the first one is JSON.stringify. We're taking an object and we're turning it into a string. So let me run this and we'll just kind of break down what's going on. So right here you can see we have an object, which is Nate, my name, my email, and my company. If we go to JSON, we can see it's basically one object with 3 items inside of it. And inside that object, we have name, email, and company. And company is a nested one with, as you can see, 2 items inside the company, which is the name and the location. So that's an object, one item. And now if we want to turn that into a string, first of all, what we can do is we can basically just set the variable type here. So if I dragged an object, we could see that it's coming through like that, but we can turn it into a string. Or if we switch this back to object, it would come through as an object. So all we're doing is basically that function. But what I wanted to show is like right here in the actual result panel, this is still coming through like it looks like an object. And so if we come in front of this actual $, which is the variable, and we go in all caps and say JSON.stringify, open parentheses, and then a close parentheses at the end, it basically gets rid of that object parameter. So now it's just an actual string. And like I said, because this is a set field and we can change the type of variable, it doesn't really matter too much right here. But if you were doing this inside like an HTTP request, or you were trying to send data over to Airtable or something, and it said expected a string but received an object, then you can throw a stringify in front of that variable and it will likely solve that error. So that's stringify. Now, just to go backwards, is if you have a string and you want to get it into an object, or potentially an array. No, an object. Anyways, let's just run this one and we'll break it down. So basically the exact opposite of what we're doing. So look right here, this error. Stringify expects an object, but we got nothing. And that's the type of error you may see, where it expects one thing but gets another, and you can sort of manipulate it with some of these string functions, or using a set. So anyways, now here it's the exact opposite, where we're getting that string of name, email, company, location, all that kind of stuff. And what we want to do is turn that back into an object. So I could, first of all, just drag this into there, turn it into an object, and now we have an object. But let's say that we didn't have this set field and we actually just wanted to turn it into an object right here. We would come in front, all caps, JSON.parse, open parentheses, and then a closed one, and now we have the object parameter back, as you can see. Cool. So that's stringify and parse. Now, this is actually one I use a ton. Honestly, whenever I'm doing like an HTTP request, I'll probably just throw this in here. Because, as you know, if you have like double quotes in an HTTP request body parameter, it's going to fail. So, if I come through here, and basically what we're setting is pineapples on pizza, but there's double quotes. And if we wanted to feed that query into Tavily, it's basically having 2 sets of quotes, which is going to confuse this request. So if I hit run, it's going to say JSON parameter needs to be valid JSON, and it doesn't exactly tell us why. So what we can do is down here, right after .query, we just throw this .replace. And typically what this will look like is it will just be .replace, and then it will tell you like what are you looking for and what do you want to replace it with. So that it doesn't have to be just double quotes. It could be you're trying to replace new line characters or commas or whatever it is. You can replace something with something else. But here I'm using it to replace double quotes. Now the double quotes are gone, and if we test step here, we will actually get Tavily to run and search the internet for pineapples on pizza, and as you can see. So that's like a good thing to do when you're working with API calls. Now another one, definitely the most common one that I'm using, and this isn't really even like a function, this is more of a variable, but still something I thought I'd throw out there is using the $now, because what we can do with this one is we can use a .format type of function. So how this works is we're gonna come in here, we do $now. I'm sure you guys know this. Oh, we have to do the curly braces, and we grab $now, and this returns us the date time. But that's pretty ugly, and what we want to do with it is be able to format it and customize it however we want. So if I type in .format, first of all, it's going to default just do the 4-character year with month with day. But we can play around with this kind of stuff, right? So first of all, if I just do like a $sign or a capital D, that's going to give me this short version of a date. And obviously you can kind of look through here to see how you can manipulate stuff. We could also go like, year, dash, and I just want the month. So there's month. But if I did another one, I'll get the 2-digit month. And then I could get the day. Okay, so there's that. You could also do, like month. Or no, let's do one letter. So I want just the month, and then I want the 2-digit day. Oh, 2-digit day. And then I want the year. So yeah, I can do 2 digits or 4, and it's just like you can separate with slashes or dashes, whatever you want to use. You can kind of customize how you want this to be formatted. You can also do time. So if I did, also just so you see, if I do 2 double D's, I get like the spelled out version of the date. So you kind of just play around with how you want it. But for time, if I do capital H, that's hour. If I do lowercase h, okay, so capital H is hour. Then I can do a colon, and then I can say lowercase m for minute, because otherwise it would, if I did a capital M, that would be what month. So lowercase m is minute. And then if I do an A, that's going to give me like AM or PM. But there's also a way you can just have it be military time, which I think would be, it's 10 a.m. so I can't test, but lowercase h or uppercase H, one of those is like the military type time, the 24 hours. So anyways, just wanted to show how you can sort of play around with format. And once again, if you are looking for a specific format and you don't know how to get it, go ask chat, hey, I'm using $now.format and I want to get it in this form, and then it will basically just spit it out for you. Okay, and the final one here is .join. So let's say you have a list of items. So here we have dog, cat, monkey, tiger. And what we want to do is we want to get that list something that's more readable. So right now we literally just have array, and then we see the 4 animals in that array. So if I come over to the expression and I do .join, this lets us choose how we want to join the stuff. And first of all, that already cleans it up and gets rid of the array stuff. But in this parentheses, I can say, what do I want in between? So I'll put it in quotes, and now it gets rid of the commas, right? So if I did like a comma, that's how you add it back. Or I could do a dash. Or I could do a space, and now it's like dog and cat and monkey and tiger. I could also do like a new line, which would, did something wrong there. That did a pipe. So if I do what is this, a backslash or a forward slash? If I do this slash plus an N, that gives a new line. And then I could do another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. So this is just like what's going between the items in this list over here. I could say likes, and now it's going to be dog likes cat likes monkey. So you have full customization over how you want to see this data. So just wanted to show you guys that one as well. But anyways, those are like the most common ones that I use. And once again, large language models will understand sort of how to help you use these and maybe when to use each one. So hopefully that's helpful. I will have the JSON for this workflow down attached in this video if you want to play around with it. But that's it for this one.